I really shouldn't like Test Drive 6. I mean, there's a lot of things that are not good about it. But I do. Okay, well, let's talk about the bad things first. This is an Infogrames game. It is now Atari. Because they bought Atari and they took the name because they're not stupid. But most Infogrames games on the Dreamcast are lazy PlayStation 1 ports. This game is no exception. I mean, you get games like this, Slave Zero, Striker Pro 2000, which is obscenely lazily done. I'm going to review it eventually, but I'll tell you why it's so poor, but it's a lot of very poorly done PlayStation 1 ports on the Dreamcast. Now, the PC version, which I have, I've played a lot of the PC version because I think I got it like at Walmart maybe when I was a kid. I got this one before I got a Dreamcast, but this version is all much better looking. They both have about the same amount of
3, 2, 1, go!
But back to the flaws this game actually doing. The graphics are what you would expect from a lazy PlayStation 1 port.
3, 2, 1, go!
The gameplay is actually the controls are very good. The AI for the computer drivers is lacking, to say the least. In one mode, which I'm going to show you right now, I was playing the cop chase mode, and one of the drivers apparently got stuck on nothing, and I had to go back halfway through the map to chase him, which is bad. And a lot of those problems are in this one too. I remember doing this at least once, but of course I wasn't recording games back then. And if I try and do this now, or when I try to play this on my new computer, it completely glitches out. Which I tried doing that once. I'll link that in the description. So there are some things that are not good about this game. But it has a lot of things going for it too. Especially when you compare it to the other Dreamcast racing game I've reviewed with Roadsters, which was atrocious. I mean, this game has a great sound, a good soundtrack. Maybe I would say great. I would say good, really good. It's licensed late 90s, early 2000s rock music, so admittedly that wasn't the greatest time for the rock genre, but it's definitely better than the boring clips of stock music that you heard in Roadsters. There's a ton of content in this game too. It's got about between 10 and 12 tracks, all of which can be done in reverse. It's got over 40 unique real licensed vehicles. It actually says that on the back here. Over 40 unique real licensed vehicles from various car makers. You got your Dodges, your Fords, you got a couple Mustangs, some Jaguars, Toyotas. There's one Toyota super race car that looks like a spaceship. I didn't actually unlock it during this review because it's a Class 1 car and I was using Class 4s, or the other way around. And the controls, as I said earlier, are very good. You get the analog, full proper analog on the triggers. The direction moves pretty well too. And unlike Roadsters, where it was like all off, or it was like trying to control it with a D-pad, which is not a good thing to do. So, and the game has a lot of modes too. I mean, it's got a single race, tournament, which is like a 4 or 5, somewhere between like 3 and I think the furthest up it goes is like 12 races in a row, where you bet X amount of money and it goes into a tournament pot, and it works fairly well. There's practice, which despite being called practice, is actually a race. Just a race without any sort of... It's more of a single race mode than a practice mode, but whatever. There's also, as I mentioned earlier, the cop chase mode, where you're a police officer who's getting all those racers. And that's not unique. I know that a Need for Speed game, I want to say Need for Speed 3 did that before. Still, it's a nice change of pace, and it works well. And the Dreamcast version also has a split-screen head-to-head mode, which is not present in the PC port because it's a PC game. PC games, especially at this time, very rarely had local multiplayer. This one doesn't even have online multiplayer, which would be useless now because there are probably like 4 people still playing the game. But still, maybe it's just nostalgia talking, because as I said, I played a lot of this PC port. I played a ton of it. Probably dozens, maybe hundreds of hours. But I like Test Drive 6. It's got that always mysterious fun factor. Is it the greatest racing game of the generation? No, it's not. Has it aged the best? God, no. Of course, some of that's on the game itself, because it wasn't that good of a looking of a game back then. Some of it is not. I mean, how are they supposed to know 9/11 was going to happen? So that was, yeah, dated the game. But it has a, I really like the soundtrack of this game, and actually, the Fear Factory version of Cars is great. It actually has the video in the game. Not sure if it's in the PlayStation version, but I know it's in the PC version as well. Of course, I can't let you play it or play any of that because I don't want to get sued. Because, you know, that's what they do nowadays. If you Google it, you can probably find it. Also, fun little Easter egg: if you install this copy of the game on your computer, because you can't install this one, if you install this copy of the game, it actually just puts all of the MP3s of the entire soundtrack right on your computer. So, that's just fantastic. Now, admittedly, I'm going to go way back to what I was saying much earlier. I have a feeling most of my enjoyment of this game is more due to the nostalgia purposes than anything else. And it's like they say on the car mirrors, right here. No, I don't know if it's on this one because I don't have a Dodge Viper. I wish I did. Objects in the rearview mirror may appear closer than they are. There's also a Meatloaf song. I just referenced a Meatloaf song in one of my videos. Hey. Yeah, I know. You weren't even alive when Meatloaf was relevant. I was just talking to the dog. He just looks at me while I talk to him. It's a little relationship we have. I think that a fair amount of the reason I like this game is because I played this game, and because it was not easy to find PC games that ran on a crappy off-the-shelf computer that we bought in like 1998. This was only made in 99. But so the nostalgia factor probably gives us a few more points than it deserves. This game's probably a 4 or a 5. It's about middle of the road, I would say, in the most objective manner possible. But as a reviewer, I don't have to necessarily be objective, because this is my review of the game. It's not just Captain Objective's review. That's why I'm giving this version of Test Drive 6 a 7 out of 10. The PC port, I would say, would get an 8. Now, make sure to rate, comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell your friends. And I'll see you next time when I talk about something else. I'm not quite sure what yet. Thank you very much, and as I said, I'll have that description below of this when I tried doing this on a PC. It didn't end well, ended weirdly. So, thank you, and have a wonderful day. Found a Nokia N64 controller that has a rumble motor built into it. It feels a lot better than the stock N64 controller.